When Batman hit the airwaves in January of 1966, it was an overnight ratings success and considered the biggest TV phenomenon of the mid-60s for the ABC network. To say it was a surprise smash hit would be an understatement, as no one expected the show to be as popular as it was. Batman became one of the first regular TV shows to air with a twice-a-week format where the first episode would end on a cliffhanger and resolve itself the next night. Batman, of course, needed no introduction, as most of us grew up reading the comic books, watching him in cartoons, or seeing him in the movies. He is the most famous, most filmed, most televised comic book character ever created, and continues to be popular almost a century later. The classic TV series aired for 3 seasons from January 1966 until March 1968, with a highly recognizable and catchy theme song, classic comic book villains, outrageous traps, ingenious gadgets, thrilling chases, catchy phrases, beautiful heroic women, and villainous femme fatales. This series had it all. In fact, it practically defined the comic book adaptation for over 3 decades, mainly due to the visual flair, campy humor, and an abundance of celebrity guests. Batman became the hottest adaptation of a comic book superhero made for television. The decision by the writers and producers to make the show intentionally humorous made it all the more attractive to the audience that mostly comprised of teenagers. Batman the TV series was originally conceived as a crime drama and juvenile adventure show in the style of The Adventures of Superman or The Lone Ranger, and it was planned to air on CBS Saturday mornings. ABC stepped in, though, and suggested a prime-time series in the hip style of the spy series The Man from U.N.C.L.E. DC Comics, which had optioned the rights to CBS, made a deal to reobtain the rights and optioned them then to ABC, who in turn had 20th Century Fox produce the series. William Dozier, who was then selected as executive producer on the show, had never read the comic books, and after reading a few decided the only way to go was a campy pop art style situation comedy. In fact, he once called Batman the only situation comedy on the air without a laugh track. ABC wanted the show to be an hour-long adventure series, but when they bumped the premiere date up from the fall schedule to January of 1966, they only had 2 half-hour spots available. It was then decided to split the show into 2 parts and air them over 2 consecutive evenings, with the cliffhanger ending the first night. Most of the episodes were based on recent comic books and comic characters, with over-the-top storytelling and pop art visual sound effects leaping from the screen like bam, pow, and wham. Adam West was then cast to play eccentric millionaire business tycoon Bruce Wayne and his vigilante counterpart, the masked hero Batman. West cleverly puts on a comedic, self-absorbed act as Batman that made his portrayal of the Caped Crusader utterly comic for adults, but seriously heroic for children. West personally had a reputation for drinking and hard partying, and would show up at all kinds of parties during his time on Batman, including sex parties. One time, West related that he and co-star Frank Gorshin were invited to a Hollywood party that turned out to be an orgy, and he and Gorshin immediately went into character as Batman and the Riddler. They made partygoers laugh so hard that the host had to throw them out for spoiling the mood. Frank Gorshin later stated that he had no memory of the incident, however. In the height of his popularity as Batman, West said that he actually had sex with 8 different women in one sitting, truly a superheroic feat. West was also known to arrive very early to the set of Batman, not necessarily because he was a hard-working, dedicated actor, but because he would meet up with young female co-stars in his dressing room at 7:45 a.m. He also reportedly had quickies between takes on the set while still in costume, since he couldn't remove the suit as he was in most of the scenes. West also introduced Burt Ward, also known as Robin the Boy Wonder, to his wild sexual antics. Burt was a naive 20-year-old when he landed the role of Robin, and West took Ward under his wing. Ward later stated that he and Adam, while in costume, would stand with their legs apart and hands on hips, as that would emphasize the bulges in their suits. They believed that this acted as a lure for women. Women would reportedly bang on their dressing room windows while they were having sex with other women, as they wanted a piece of the action. The stream of females was so long that sometimes a line would form outside. West would later state that they were like kids in a candy store. In one major romp in Aspen, Colorado, West found himself banned for 15 years after a wild party consisting of an abundance of liquor and lots of women. The police arrived and escorted West out of town and told him it would be unwise for him to return. Almost 15 years went by before Aspen authorities wrote him a letter stating it would be okay if he returned to visit. Pope Paul VI, it turns out, was also a massive fan of Batman and actually met with West at the Vatican. West, who had been drinking the night before, decided he couldn't kneel to kiss the Pope's ring, as he might not be able to get up afterwards. Instead, he decided to bow and shake the Pontiff's hand. The Pope obligingly told West in Italian what a big fan he was of the show. Batman lasted for 120 half-hour episodes, but as the seasons went on, the humor became stale and the storylines fell into predictable plots. By the third and final season, only one half-hour episode aired per week as the popularity of the show declined. An attempt was made to bolster the ratings with the addition of the lovely Yvonne Craig as Batgirl and her alter ego, Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon's daughter. William Dozier asked Julia Schwartz, the editor of the Batman comic books at the time, to further flesh out the Batgirl character in the comics. She made her debut in Detective Comics number 359 in January of 1967. With falling ratings, ABC decided to cancel the series after the third season, and NBC was planning to pick up the series until they found out that most of the working sets, which cost thousands of dollars to build, had already been destroyed. Batman, which ran from 1966 to 1968, garnered enormous popularity for a brief time. The show was so popular, in fact, that many celebrities clamored to get a guest spot on the show. That included Frank Sinatra, who wanted to play the Joker, but the part instead went to Cesar Romero. Though it had a relatively short run, Batman is still fondly remembered by many, and Adam West, through all of his antics and frailties, remains one of the most charismatic Bruce Waynes and Batmans to ever grace the television screen. To Adam West and Burt Ward, we at Rerun Zone salute you both for giving us a smart, sexy, and extremely memorable superhero team that we couldn't wait to watch every week. Batman and his zany cast of characters will never be forgotten. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and stop back for more classic TV and movie trivia, reviews, and retrospectives. Same bat time, same bat channel on Rerun Zone. Goodbye for now.